where should we even begin? The global COVID-19 pandemic? Or maybe deforestation and overfishing? The Ukrainian war? Wait, there's also war in Syria, Afghanistan, Iraq, Yemen, Palestine, Nigeria, South Sudan. We could go on for days. There are way too many problems in a world for which we still do not have consistent and logical solutions. The mentioned problems are different for everyone, but still, in some way or another, they have an impact on every single one of us. Today, in 2022, there are still civilians dying from wars. Even now, in Europe, people are dying from weapons, missiles, and governments are being cyber-attacked. Environmentally damaging and inhumane working conditions, mass production, food waste, overfishing. These are problems that heavily burden our world more and more every second. There are way too many places where workers are being systemically exploited by big corporations and companies just to make a profit and grow the wealth of the already most wealthy people. This is in no way, shape or form conformal to human rights. Every year, almost 1.3 billion tons of food is wasted. This equals a third of all food produced. All this while 9 million people are starving. Overconsumption in industrialized countries is growing like a rapid fire. Consumption occurs everywhere, at home, at school, in transit, or on our phones. And it accounts for, on average, 60% of a country's gross domestic product. However, consumption results from production. Thus, production cannot be ignored when mentioning consumption, as the two actions are firmly connected, occurring as an ongoing process. Just think about the production of things like mobile phones or computers that are made to only last a short amount of time. Just so after 3 years we buy a new device that is marketed as way better than the last one. This way our overconsumption is being pushed. This leads to even more products being thrown away while only very few are even recyclable. Due to technical and scientific progress, companies could produce mobile phones with batteries that can be changed. This would make the product last centuries. Of course, this would mean way less profit for the big corporations. So these companies do not use these methods. Every year, over 80% of the world's electronic waste does not get recycled. Every day, around 8 million pieces of plastic make their way into our oceans. Every minute, an area equivalent to 35 soccer fields is cut down and burned.
Delegate, it's very important. Are you on your way?
I'll be there in 50 minutes.
It's time to take action. Still desperately trying to save the world?
Very much so.
Pathetic. Look at where all your efforts have brought you.
At least we have been actively fighting for what we believe in for 25 years at MUNOL. How can you still be so cold-hearted while seeing the world burning? How can you still be so cold-hearted while millions of people are living in conflict? How can you still be so cold-hearted while our oceans are being ruined?
Why should I even be invested in any of this? How could I profit of saving some person living halfway across the world?
It's not all just about profit, it's about having humanity and empathy with people in dire need. Not all struggling people are halfway across the world. Just look at the Ukrainian people. How could you not care about these massive numbers of people that are dying and fleeing their homes?
What about it? Perfect opportunity for cheap labor.
I can't believe how insensitive you are. It's not just about the people that are right around the corner. What about the Palestinian people that are being systemically oppressed and are living under occupation? Not even to begin with the Yemeni people that are living in the biggest humanitarian crisis of our time. I mean, just look at the different ways refugees are treated at the European border. Whilst Ukrainian refugees are welcomed with open arms, Syrian refugees are left to freeze to death just for trying to find a safe place to stay.
War's business, and refugees are a financial loss for every country. Do you know how much they give you for one Christmas meal? 1.4 million. Enough to provide for the rest of your days.
The money you get out of these kinds of businesses is not worth all of the human lives it costs. Just like all of the children's lives that are lost to them being forced to serve as soldiers are not worth the profit that is gained through this animosity.
This may be true, although a lot of people would say otherwise. But who are we to complain if the price is right?
This fortune also won't save you when climate change makes the world uninhabitable. People with mindsets like yours are the same kinds of people that are responsible for things like deforestation and overfishing. You people can only ever think about yourselves, right?
Why would I not think about myself? Even if I wanted to, I couldn't do anything about this shit. And don't even start talking about my carbon footprint. This shit was made up.
It's not only us as individuals that have to look out for things like our carbon footprint. It's mostly the big players that are responsible for the immense damage. And of course, even you can help fight against climate change. You could simply start by not glorifying and supporting these big corporations that have such a huge impact on making climate change worse every single day. And that's where responsible consumption starts.
God, give me a break. If you believe these lies, climate change would already have been stopped. Just if everyone stopped using plastic toothbrushes and instead use some bamboo crap.
While all these corporations are still polluting the environment, climate change definitely won't be stopped.
And how is one person supposed to do all of that?
We can only reach our goal when we all support each other and work together. The problem with that is that majority of the world does not have access to a free press. And for everyone to be able to support each other, we desperately need that.
And how are we supposed to reach people living in dictatorships like North Korea?
Through the United Nations, we're hopeful to make rights like the right to protest and the right to a free press accessible for everyone.
I hate to admit it, but I'm willing to give it a shot and contribute my part.
We have to rethink the whole system of our world. We are in desperate need of a change. And you can finally be part of that.